The morning air in Cheongdam-dong carried a strange silence. One that hinted at a storm brewing beneath Seoul's polished calm. Through the glass window of a discreet cafe, Jun Ho sat alone by the corner table, his face hidden beneath a black cap. Steam rose from his untouched coffee. The sky was pale, heavy with winter light, and outside, cameras waited like predators scenting blood. His phone buzzed once, twice, before the screen flashed a headline that would change everything. Dispatch exclusive: Jun Ho and Yoona caught on secret dates, exclusive photos revealed. He closed his eyes for a moment. The world outside began to move faster. By noon, every major news outlet had broken the story. Inside the KBS newsroom, producers shouted orders over ringing phones. Screens flickered with headlines: Nation's sweetheart caught in love scandal, JIP and SM confirm or deny. Fans demand answers. It wasn't the first celebrity dating rumor in Seoul, but this one felt different. Jun Ho wasn't just any idol, he was a national heartthrob, known for his clean image and quiet charisma. And Yoona, her name alone carried a decade of fame and untouchable grace. Orders scrambled for sources. One editor muttered, "It's dispatch. It must be true." Others rushed to verify photos allegedly taken in the quiet alleys near the Han River. A silver car. A figure in a white hoodie, grainy. Undeniable. Twitter, Naver, and YouTube exploded within minutes. The world had found its new obsession. SM Entertainment's headquarters. Yoona arrived under a clouded sky. The air outside the building felt electric, paparazzi shouting, lenses clicking in rapid succession. She wore a beige trench coat, hair tied neatly. No makeup to hide behind. Her manager shielded her with an umbrella as they slipped through the glass doors. But the flash still caught her eyes, tired, soft, and quietly burning. Inside, she walked past rows of whispering staff. Phones were ringing non-stop. A senior manager greeted her with a strained smile. "Yoona SSI. The executives are in a meeting. They'll want to talk soon." She nodded silently and disappeared down the hall. The door closed behind her, shutting out the noise. In the reflection of the glass, her own face stared back, composed, but trembling inside. Memories flickered like film reels behind her eyes: a night by the Han River, laughter echoing under the streetlights, Jun Ho handing her a coffee with both hands, shyly avoiding her gaze. That memory belonged to another season, months ago. After the Blue Dragon Awards, the city had slept then, except for them. They had met by accident, or fate, near the riverbank after the ceremony. He'd said softly, "I didn't think you'd really come." She smiled, wind brushing her hair. "You said you owed me coffee. I keep promises." The sound of the river was steady, almost protective. Their world had begun there, built on shared loneliness, whispered texts, and nights too long to sleep. Back in the present, Seoul was not kind. By evening, the rumor had evolved into frenzy. Fans clashed online. Some defended their love. Others cried betrayal. "He used to say we were his only love," one fan tweeted bitterly. "They look beautiful together." Another countered, earning thousands of likes. It was chaos wrapped in fascination. Stock prices of both entertainment agencies fluctuated wildly. Within hours, the scandal had reached international media. That night, as rain began to fall over Gangnam, Jun Ho's car stopped outside KBS headquarters. He was scheduled for a live appearance on a music talk show. Ironic timing, no doubt. As he stepped out, microphones surrounded him like blades. "Jun Ho SSI. Is the rumor true? Are you and Yoona dating? Did your agency know?" The noise was relentless, but his face remained unreadable. Inside the studio, he performed with flawless professionalism, his voice calm, his expression composed. Yet behind every lyric, something raw trembled. After the show ended, the press cornered him again. Dozens of cameras flashed, journalists shouting over one another. For a moment, he stood still. Then, in a voice soft but firm enough to silence the chaos, he said, "Yes, I am in a relationship with Yoona." Words fell heavy into the air. The room froze. Even the hum of the fluorescent lights seemed to pause. He didn't elaborate. He didn't apologize. He simply bowed once, deeply, and walked past the shouting crowd as the cameras erupted like thunder. That single sentence would replay endlessly across news channels for days. By midnight, Seoul was no longer the same. Online searches for both names broke every record. Entertainment shows cancelled appearances. Advertisers held emergency meetings. The line between admiration and judgment blurred as every headline turned sharper. Every photo more invasive. But through it all, Jun Ho's confession echoed like a quiet act of defiance, a man standing against a machinery of image and illusion. Yoona remained unseen. 48 hours. She vanished from public view. Fans waited outside SM's building day and night, leaving flowers, notes, prayers. Be strong, Yoona. Deserve happiness. Inside, she watched the rain from her apartment window. The city lights reflected in her eyes. She thought of his words, so simple, yet world-shaking. Somewhere beneath the noise, a small part of her wanted to smile. Then came another tremor. Lee Chae, her co-star in a recent drama and rumored admirer, did a message on his social media. Some truths arrived too late. The internet ignited once more. Speculation ran wild. Was it directed at her? At Jun Ho? Or was it just coincidence? Fans analyzed every word, every emoji, every subtle clue. Within hours, Lee Chae trended across the country. The three names, Jun Ho, Yoona, Chae, now formed a triangle that the public couldn't stop dissecting. That night, as the rain grew heavier, it looked like a city under glass, lights blurred, reflections doubled, and truth lost among illusions. In a small apartment overlooking the river, Yoona sat with her phone on the table, the screen still dark. Outside, the world demanded answers. But all she wanted was silence. In that silence, she could still hear his voice. Yes, I am in a relationship with Yoona. A confession that felt less like surrender, and more like protection. And so, as the storm raged through headlines and hearts alike, three people found themselves caught in the same downpour, each standing still, waiting to see what would survive when the rain finally stopped. The storm that had shaken Seoul did not fade overnight. It lingered in headlines, in whispers. Tremble of flashing lights outside every building that dared to hold a secret. 3 days had passed since Lee Jun Ho's confession. The echo of his words still pulsed through the veins of the city. Reporters camped outside Jeep Entertainment. Umbrellas scattered like a small army beneath the gray sky. Inside, the air was thick with anxiety. Tamil reporters' voices bleeding through the glass walls. Lee Jun Ho entered the conference room in a charcoal suit. No entourage. No manager to shield him this time, just him, the microphones, and a sea of curious eyes. He adjusted the mic, exhaled quietly, and bowed deeply. I know this has caused confusion and concern, he began. His voice was steady, but beneath it ran the quiet weight of exhaustion. I never intended to hide, but I wanted to protect someone who did not deserve to be hurt by public judgment. He paused. The room was so silent. The click of a camera sounded like thunder. Continued, eyes focused, calm but unwavering. Yes, I am in a relationship with Yoona. It began not with intention, but with comfort, two people meeting at the edge of loneliness. I don't regret it, but I am sorry that it caused pain to those who believed in a different image of me. The confession was neither theatrical nor rehearsed. It felt disarmingly human. Some reporters lowered their cameras. Others, sensing the sincerity, remained quiet. When the conference ended, Jun Ho bowed once more. Behind him, he left the podium. His phone vibrated. A message blinked on the screen. Just 3 words, you did well, no name. But he knew the sender. And for the first time in days, his breath steadied. That afternoon, the focus shifted to Incheon International Airport. Yoona was scheduled to attend an overseas event, a commitment she couldn't cancel. The terminal was a living storm of flashbulbs and shouts. Yet, when she appeared, the crowd fell into a hush. Dressed in a simple white blouse and navy coat, she moved with quiet grace. Steps slow, deliberate. Cameras followed her every movement. But no one dared to interrupt. As she reached the check-in counter, a reporter called out, Yoona SSI. Do you have anything to say to the fans? She stopped, turned slightly, and smiled softly. It's not about the past anymore, she said. Hope we can all find peace. It was barely a sentence, but it was enough. The crowd, unexpectedly, into gentle applause. Some fans cried. Others simply lowered their phones, realizing they were witnessing something fragile and real. The first time since the scandal began, compassion replaced curiosity. On her left hand, under the sleeve of her coat, a glint of silver caught a light. a ring that matched the one Jun Ho had worn during rehearsals months earlier. It wasn't an announcement. It was a quiet declaration that needed no words. Back at KBS, filming resumed for the drama where Lee Chae starred opposite Yoona. Though she was temporarily abroad, the schedule continued. He avoided interviews, ignored reporters, and kept his head down. But one evening, behind the scenes live stream, a journalist asked an unexpected question: "How do you feel about everything happening around you right now?" The room froze. Chae looked up, his expression unreadable. Then, after a pause that felt like a held breath, he answered, "Sometimes you realize you were only a chapter in someone's story, not the ending." His words spread faster than any official statement. Viewers flooded the stream with comments: "He's hurting but dignified. That's what real heartbreak sounds like." Some called him a victim of timing. Others saw him as a symbol of grace. Yet beneath the sympathy, there lingered a question: had he ever truly confessed his feelings to her? Or was it all too late? That night, Yoona watched the clip from her hotel room. The city lights of Tokyo shimmered beyond the window. Reflection stared back from the glass, poised, elegant, but undeniably human. She sighed softly. Spring to the empty room. "I never meant to hurt anyone." Then she turned off her phone and closed her eyes. Silence was heavier than applause, but far kinder than noise. Days later, when she returned to Seoul, a small white envelope waited for her in her mailbox. Inside was a short note written in Jun Ho's familiar handwriting. "There's no need to explain. Just proud that we were honest." No signature, no flourish, just truth. She smiled faintly, the paper carefully, as if it were something fragile that could dissolve in her hands. The following week, a new rhythm settled into the city. The news cycle moved on. A new scandal replaced theirs, as it always did. Yet, for those three people, nothing returned to normal. Jun Ho spent longer hours in the rehearsal studio, dancing until dawn. In one late-night moment, as his team left and the room fell silent, he sat against a mirror and watched his own reflection. Older somehow, not in years, but in gravity. He picked up his phone, hesitated. Finally called her. "Are you okay?" His voice was low, almost afraid of its own sound. There was a pause, a small inhale. "Now, I am," she answered softly. That was all. No goodbyes, no promises. Just a quiet truth between two people who had already said everything through silence. Time passed. Spring arrived early that year, touching Seoul in pale pink light. Yoona returned to filming, her laughter on set brighter than before. Chae began a new project, this time as a lead. Reporters noticed he smiled more often now, though sometimes his eyes still wandered toward the horizon when no one was watching. Jun Ho released a new song months later, soft, melancholic, stripped down to nothing but piano and breath. Fans said it sounded like a confession set to music. Dusk fell one evening. Jun Ho found himself walking by the Han River again, where it had all begun. The same bridge, the same slow current reflecting the city's glow. The air was calm, carrying the faint scent of spring rain. Stopped by the railing and looked across the water. A folded note rested in his palm, her handwriting, simple and clean. "Love isn't about hiding. About standing still, even when the wind blows." He smiled quietly. The city roared behind him. But here, by the river, everything was still. He slipped the note back into his pocket and gazed at the lights dancing on the water. Somewhere far away, perhaps in another quiet place, she might be doing the same. The scandal that once consumed headlines had turned into something else, a story of three people learning to face themselves when the world refused to look away. It was not a tragedy, nor a fairy tale. Something deeper, a testament to how love survives even after the noise fades. And as the night stretched over Seoul, soft rain began to fall again, gentle, cleansing, familiar. Beneath that rain, Jun Ho whispered her name once more. Not for the cameras, not for the world, but for the memory of what it truly meant to be honest. The storm had ended. What remained was the calm, and the quiet courage of two hearts that had chosen truth over perfection.